Okay. What's up? First of all, can everybody hear me? Yes, Sarah. Michael Dean has been missed. Uh, can you hear me? That's the important thing. Let me get a thumbs up. Yes, this is the second to last day that we will be without Michael Dean. I think I finally figured out what is going on. It took a week, but here's what's going on my laptop, my sign in looks exactly the same as on my desktop, but it has to be a different profile. So I was looking at you guys chatting, saying, why is my computer's not the same? It's very boring. It's also frustrating. And I am also blurry. Let me fix that because I am a beautiful man. And we are going to get this going. That's even worse. Do you see what happens when Sar has the audacity to go to work? This is what happens. It's me solo. Tory is doing a little bit of work on herself. She is therapizing as we all should. So let's send her good vibes. And yes, Tory did pick the Knicks to win. And also, first of all, yeah, I said $100,000. ELC, thank you for correcting me. Each player got 531,000. And can you imagine playing a basketball game and even if you're going to lose, you're going to get 200 grand? First of all, that's a good way to get a what effort out of old Al, because in between timeouts I'd be like, how much does it cost to go to Ibiza? Yes, Tory did pick the Knicks to win. Tory is on this weird, crazy streak, and she is validating what I've always said, colleagues, and that I know that you can look at stats and you can look at trends and analysis, but something happens when people get on a field that is impossible to predict. So all these guys that make all this money predicting these games, I guarantee you no more than 5 or 6 of them have a better winning record than Tory does. And Tory also has a better winning record of picking upsets. These guys get paid a bunch of money to say, I think the team with 5 more wins than this other team, they have a good chance to take it. Yeah, good. Yeah, well done. Tory doesn't know which team's doing well. So she's going straight up off vibes. And shout out to her for doing that. Tory, I am so proud of you. You make we had um such a good time at the party, the Dude IDK party. And I'll tell you guys this, I'm going back and forth with something, and we're just gonna talk about this before because I feel like we can talk. What would you guys do if you knew two parties that are kind of dating and you think that they're right for each other, but you're not supposed to be butting into anybody's relationship, much less when you know both parties? Is it out of bounds for me to approach one of the parties and just be like, "Hey, I promise I will never mention anything that has to do with this relationship ever again, but I just want to let you know I think you guys are great for each other and I think you need a reset." Because I think that Tory and or anybody, has nothing to do with Tory. Let's just say any party. It's bad if it's like if you colleagues know how like me and Saw roll. Like, let's say we were dating, but I just got a relationship. It was a little weird. And I'm like, oh, Sarah hasn't called me in a while. And she's like, Al hadn't called me. Would it be okay in your eyes for Julia or Marcy or ELC or Kayabu to to like DM Sarah and be like, I'm not trying to be in your business, but I think you and Al will be a good couple? Or is it just like stay away? So I don't know. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Julia, it's very weird when you know both parties and you like both parties and you're pulling for both parties because you don't want to overstep your bounds. And I am a big fan of letting relationships take their natural course. But there's also a reason that in driver's ed, the instructor has a brake on their side, on the passenger side as well. And sometimes it's like they're gonna let you. drive and kind of scare you. But if you guys are about to go off a cliff, the driver's ed instructor can stop the car. And I'm sure he rarely pushes that brake. But I'm just wondering if I'm overstepping my bounds because I feel like I see people that I love about to possibly not follow a potential relationship to its natural end. If I, if it was kind of over in both parties, I wouldn't say a word. But I was just like, I think this is awkward. I think y'all need a reset. So we'll just we'll leave it there. And yeah, I guess it is. Here's what I was planning to do, Julia. And I don't care if I'm saying this online. I was going to write a one-way text to one of the parties. And the text was just going to be like, hey, I love you. You know how we roll. This is how I feel. I will not respond to anything that you say. I do not want this to affect our relationship. I just want to let my feelings be known, and I will step back. I will never mention this. I don't want to be a liaison or a go-between with this relationship, but it's a very weird thing when you're just like, that, you know, that could just be, I think they're good for each other. They're just kind of like not seeing it, but I know them both as individuals. And I think that, you know, I think that I just don't want to see something that has a lot of promise go away. All right. Well, let's get started. A lot to discuss today. Now, because Al was panicking before the show, does that mean that I didn't get everything uploaded into into the places it needs to go? That is what it means. But that doesn't mean we can't still get through the show the way that we always do, and that is together. So let's get to the first story that I wanted to get to. So let's do this right here. We have a lot of main stories. I should have played the romance one for that one, but let's do this. All right. One of the main stories that we were talking about is my girl and your girl, Erika Kirk. That's right. Erika Kirk is making the rounds. I'm sure that you guys all saw her town hall on CBS. CBS's ratings are tanking right now. Tanking. Let's see if I can get this picture to come up. This says here that Erika Kirk hosted a $10,000 a plate black tie gala at Mar-a-Lago last weekend. And I believe that the person underneath it says, like every grieving widow, people are not buying what Erika is selling. And I'm sure, and I'm going to look at the colleagues, the comments from you colleagues. I want to know, what is it about her? Gabriel, yes, she did sound, and I tried to upload. Maybe I can send a smaller clip. I tried to upload that clip on here, Gabriel, and it was too big of a file. Maybe I can make it a little bit. See, that's how I roll, guys. Can I edit film and keep talking? Yes, I can. So I will try and get the get that clip on here before the end of the show. But it was her town hall with Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss famously was basically handed the reins as editor-in-chief at CBS and is trying to make CBS a more mainstream Fox News. Bari Weiss originally was one of years ago. I remember hearing her name. She was at, I believe, the New York Times, and she left her position and basically kind of started her own kind of genre of human being. She's a Jewish woman that is anti-DEI. And what have we always said about these? First of all, let me just stop before this. These headphones are not plugged in anything, and I'm not hearing anything. So let's take those off. Okay, that's super weird now. Yes, Bari Weiss was one of the first women that she's she obviously identifies as a Jewish woman, and but she also said that she was very much anti-DEI. And when you need if you are conservative, very right-leaning, very anti-DEI, if you are a white man, your words about DEI not being a good thing are going to fall on deaf ears. What you need is a Trojan horse. What you need is a gay person, a black person, anybody that is in the community that you are hoping to marginalize, to sneak your ideas through without having the obvious attack of, well, of course a white guy is not going to want. But so they hired Bari Weiss on to basically run, not basically, to run CBS. She got rid of a lot of people of color. There's a famous clip that I showed SAR. There's a black man. He went viral on TikTok a few weeks ago saying, so yes, every black person, he was a producer. He said, every black person that I work with was let go today. And my white coworkers were reassigned. And if you just Google TikTok, black CBS producer let go, you will find it. It's on Instagram as well. He has his own podcast as well. But there is, CBS is homogenizing itself. It got rid of Gayle King, which had been a staple of that show in the morning, and it's been pretty obvious. But what CBS is attempting to do is to kind of wrestle away that audience that Fox News has uh, just made billions of dollars off of, because that conservative audience that Fox has carved out is loyal and is forgiving. I mean, let's not forget the defamation lawsuit to the tune of, I believe it was $787 million is coming off the top of my head, for lying about the election. And Fox News didn't miss a beat. Their ratings really have not dropped. They've never really had to address with their viewers why they felt inclined to lie about the election results. The results just kind of were what they were. Fox paid that money and kept going. And quite frankly, every news outlet, every television outlet wants that, to be able to betray your viewers and never even have to speak on it. That's a perfect relationship. But I think what CBS doesn't understand is, to be Fox, you have to be Fox all the time. We've seen a lot of people come and go where they're like, oh, I'm MAGA, because they want that MAGA fan base. Say what you want about MAGA fans. They are loyal as you know what. They are willing to go stand at a Kid Rock concert, and there is not enough money in the world you could pay me to do that. But there's a lot of money to be had if you can corral that Fox News audience. But it's proved harder than people have thought it would be. I mean, you kind of look at the Sydney Sweeney effect. She famously, and Tory and I talked about it, had the I have good genes ad, which is a play on the word genes, and genes, GENE, which is a play off the word genealogy. And she has a MAGA family. She clearly has some right leanings. And I think she tried to lean into that narrative. But what she found out when she looked at her ticket sales from the box office is people that watch Fox News don't go to the movies. They do not. Ironically, this, Mrs. Sweeney's fan base were a lot of young, probably more left-leaning, liberal women, young liberal women that watched her in Euphoria and were highly disappointed in her decisions. And I think what we saw with the Calvin Klein's ad, it was somebody trying to make that financial leap on over to uh, the MAGA world and get those MAGA millions where they're just going to buy your stuff. But it just didn't work. Look at the My Pillow guy. I know initially he sold some pillows, and that's really more the demo you want to go to, because Fox News's audience is a little bit older. You want to sell them pillows and Craftmatic adjustable beds if you got them. I don't know if they're going to go for the movie about a lesbian boxer looking to find her inner self, but nonetheless, she took a swing and she missed. These things happen. By the way, did y'all see the photos? Vanity Fair did a tell-all, or not a tell-all, just a what do you call it? Like they wanted to show the world like who the people in this Trump cabinet are. So they did an expose, a full piece, front page piece in the latest Vanity Fair magazine, and they took some pictures and did pretty elaborate in-depth profiles about everybody in Trump's cabinet, and some pictures were taken. Some people had some jokes about these pictures. Let's take a look at them now. Let's see what we have here. I might have to disappear myself from the screen for a second. Let's look. We have this one. This is a picture in Vanity Fair. That's Marco Rubio. That's a picture that was in Vanity Fair. That's not caught like in some kind of strange moment. This is the best picture that they could find of Marco Rubio. This looks like when you are in an hourly motel with your receptionist and your wife is right outside of the hotel door and she's screaming, "I know you're in there. You might as well open up, Marco. I'm not leaving." And you just have to have that moment while your receptionist is putting her stuff back in her purse and getting ready to make a run for it, when you're just reevaluating every step in your life that led you to this moment at a La Quinta off the highway in Chandler, Arizona. That looks like where he is right now. Marco Rubio, some could say, as we take a look at this cabinet, might be kind of the Trojan horse to get some of the ideas. Like, look, how could we be racist because we have Marco Rubio? Even though our policies are basically based around allowing masked men or empowering masked men, incentivizing men to put on masks, drive around the city, and terrorize pregnant women. There was a pregnant woman that was dragged in Minneapolis today, but all over the country, just to kind of make a show of it. I think at this point, even the most conservative of us, when we're looking at these ICE videos, do you guys see any drug dealers? Do you see any narco terrorists? I don't, unless they've all gone from what we picture as a drug dealer into 71-year-old women that are running a daycare that abuts a church. Now, if they have completely switched their MO, then I stand corrected. But I think that Marco Rubio every night has to lay in that hard La Quinta bed and just be like, was this the point? And him looking down, it's just such a weird picture to post. But it's not the only weird picture. We have Karoline Leavitt. This was the picture of Karoline Leavitt that was posted. Let me see if I can get it a little bit smaller. Let's see. That's very small. So small we can't see it, Al. I might have to post another. Yeah, they posted close-ups of them. This is not my doing. Trust me on that. And what they had with Mrs. Leavitt is they wanted to show, I guess, them up close and personal. This is weirdly, this what you're looking at is not that much different than what you see on the screen. Really, the full picture was just her from about the bottom of her lip up to like a little bit above her eyebrow. So they wanted to show them up close and personal. And when I say up close and personal, I mean people like Stephen Miller. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Terrifying. Definitely giving Goebbels, as the kids would say. A lot of people have said it's not too far out of the realm of thought that Stephen Miller is basically our de facto president at this point. And when you think about the fact that we have a president that has time to subtweet a man and his wife as their bodies are not even cold in the morgue, presidential duties seem to be far off of the table for President Trump. And so Stephen Miller has been left to do what, if any of you guys have seen those clips of Stephen Miller when he was in high school, he was yelling at, student council meetings that the Mexican janitors should be picking up trash and that the students shouldn't have to throw it in the can. That's what the Mexican janitor, he literally said that he has been detestable since day one. And detestable is one thing. I think just a lot of these people have personality disorders that make it so it's impossible for them to understand uh human beings and understand what makes us tick and not understand why we won't do anything to have absolute power. That's why I've said, and I was talking to a good friend of mine about this. I don't know if the electorate, which I'm part of, all y'all colleagues are a part of, all your families, all of us, the regular folks are a part of. I don't think we understand our politicians. I really don't. I am a person that has been going on stage regularly for 20 years. I've and I understand that because I've met people that have different personalities when it comes to performing, that have different agendas with what they're talking about. And I think a lot of people still look at their politicians when they say, hey, New Mexico, Ohio, Texas, the residents of Ann Arbor, Michigan, whoever they're talking to, and they have the straight face and they have their partner next to them that's got a haircut that could fend off a grenade attack. And they sit there and they go, "Hey guys, I am here to lower your taxes and I'm here to fight for you." And every year y'all go, "I believe him." I'm like, "What?" Like, have we I know colleagues, I know y'all are savvier than the average voter. You guys follow this stuff on a daily basis. Sometimes I'm like, y'all don't really think that this guy is here to fight for you. Do you think this guy is gonna make your life better? Look at that picture. Do you think this guy is going, as we have now, I believe the body count of boats that we have bombed in the Caribbean is at 80. So 80 dead people. And 80 doesn't seem like a whole lot to a country of 340 million people, but that's 80 dinner tables that now have an empty chair at them. Why? 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 What's the point? Because he's a narco terrorist? That's by the way, and that did come to fruition. Remember I said yesterday when they were talking about the war on fentanyl, I was like, I've heard this before, buddy. Weapons of mass destruction, heard this before, buddy. Fentanyl is Trump said that fentanyl killed 2 or 300 thousand Americans last year. And I believe in 2023, the actual number was around 70,000. And in 2024, that number decreased from 70,000, definitely not 200 or 300,000. And whenever Trump says probably, that's always his way of getting out of anything. He says that, or perhaps. Whenever he goes, perhaps the biggest amount of people that have ever showed up, that's his get out of jail free card. It's just like, like last night, Sar is such a good cook. She's got that New Mexico in her. When she makes some guac, it just changes. It you just look at her and you're like, oh, this is what y'all like. My guac tastes like a dude from Ohio read a recipe. Her guac, just like she makes it while she's talking to you, and it's smooth. But sometimes little baby Sar don't be feeling like making that guac, even though she promised tonight. So baby, I need that tonight. But you know what? Like what she said last night when we were talking to her mom on FaceTime, she goes, "Yeah, I will make that probably." And that's that's her way of getting out of it. That what I'll do is she'll be like, you know, we should probably go and switch over our car that's on account at the dry cleaner. I'm like, yeah, we most likely have time for that. We're not doing that, but I gotta say that. And when Trump goes, perhaps 2 or 300,000 people, that's a way to scare Americans because that's all they hear is the number. But the number in 2023 was closer to 70,000. And it decreased because the Biden administration, the number of deaths decreased from 70,000 because he started doing what? He started making Narcan more available, in places where they were finding that more people were overdosing, and we saw a decrease in overdose deaths. I personally saw Narcan used on a young woman that I found in an alley at my old apartment complex, walking back from a Browns game. I told you guys this before. I was walking down an alley just because I hadn't driven. I walked to the Browns bar to go watch my Browns. They actually won that game, and I thought I saw like a bunch of bags with clothes. When I got close, I was like, "Oh, that's a girl." And so I called 911, and when they showed up, the word Narcan wasn't on everybody's lips, so people didn't really know what it was. But they hit that young woman. She was like a good look. Her clothes were not disheveled. She was not scraped. She really just looked like a young lady that was sleeping in an alley, but like had come out of an apartment. And they hit her with that Narcan, and she sat straight up like Frankenstein, and she was good. And I think that's happened a lot. So a lot of those um overdose deaths just turned into nearly overdosed, and that saved a lot of people. But because the Trump administration said that these boats have drugs on them, that gives them free reign to blow boats out of the shoot boats from the sky with missiles and kill the people on board without even inquiring what they have on their boat, who they are. There's a lot of people it's clear that a lot of them are just fishermen. And we're seeing, now the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, back up with a lot of when they're saying, well, can we see the video? And they're like, oh man, I want to show y'all the video, but I had left it in my other jacket pocket. I know it sucks. So, speaking of things that suck, let's move on because the Trump White House had the time to add some amendments to the presidential plaques. First of all, those frames are awful. Those frames are so bad. Anyway, uh, he decided that underneath every presidential plaque, you guys can see right there in the middle the auto pen. That's a dig at Joe Biden. And I didn't get a chance to put this on the big screen, so give me a second while I look and find, because I want to get the exact quotes for what he said about each president. Here we go. All right. The White House portraits with the new plaques have new text underneath them. Biden's portrait has been replaced with a picture of an auto pen. Here's what Trump said about Joe Biden. You can see him right in the middle. It said, Joe Biden was the worst president in American history. All right. That's the first sentence underneath. He goes on to say, Sleepy Joe was by far the worst president in American history, taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States. Underneath President Barack Obama's picture, he puts, as president, he passed a highly ineffective, unaffordable Care Act, resulting in his party losing control of both houses of Congress and the election of the largest House Republican majority since 1946. Under Bill Clinton, all he says is Republicans in Congress appreciate basically Bill Clinton's NAFTA agreement, which angered a lot of the country. Then he goes on to say, in 2016, President Clinton's wife Hillary lost the presidency to President Donald J. Trump! Exclamation point. He was very nice to Reagan. He says he called him the great communicator, but you get the point. Our president is extremely petty, strange man. I wanted to know if any of the colleagues actually got a chance to see what he had done and what he's done to the White House. I believe, do I still have that picture from yesterday? Because we didn't get a chance to spend as much time on it as I wanted to. I guess I might have deleted it, but The White House is in a lot worse shape than I thought it was. The White House is there's only like maybe like a little bit more than half of it. The rest is just shattered, and it's kind of like when you have a father that likes to do, or any parent that likes to do a lot of home renovations, but does not care to finish those projects. He just smashed it and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm planning to finish that probably like in the fall when it gets a little bit warmer." So yeah, our I don't know if I've ever seen the country in such a disarray. Things are topsy turvy. And do you know what else is topsy turvy? The fact that Mariah Carey is no longer technically the queen of Christmas. She was dethroned. Her song, All I Want for Christmas, which I thought was just going to be the reigning champ forever in terms of Christmas songs, was dethroned by Wham's Last Christmas. That's right. Mariah Carey is now number 2. What do you guys think about Wham's? And if you don't know Last Christmas, I can't sing it because it'll hurt our. I don't know what they'll do something bad to us. But basically, it's that last Christmas I gave you my heart, some, and gave it away. And okay, that's a good way to lose anybody that's still left. But I don't know. I kind of, as I've gotten older, have really started to celebrate George Michael's entire catalog. I just love it. I think he was highly underrated. And Wham, there's a great documentary if you guys want to check it out. I believe it's just called Wham. It's on Netflix. And it's so interesting because we saw with the latest Puffy documentary, The Reckoning, how these artists are ripped off. When we watched The Reckoning, what we saw is, let's say, let me look in the comments because I'm gonna make a group based on the names that I look at. Okay, so we see Gabriel. Let's say Gabriel and Kayabu. They make a band, and their band's name is Kybriel. That's their name, Kybriel. They are the hottest group out. They had a couple songs go viral on TikTok and SoundCloud and YouTube. And now Kybriel has just got signed by a record label. And you guys are like, man, Kayabu, we did it, girl. We are famous musicians. And then your record label goes, hey, Gabriel, Kayabu, guess what? Here's your advance. How about this? $400,000 each for both of y'all. That's more money than 18-year-old Kayabu, 19-year-old Gabriel ever seen. Way more money. I couldn't have probably, when I was 18 years old, conceptualized $400,000. Like I'm dead serious. I could not have I knew it was an amount of money, but I couldn't imagine somebody giving me that or even what I would do. So you guys go, oh my God. Yeah, we're 2 local kids. We got almost $1 million between us. And you guys have 4 hit songs and a platinum album after that. So money's going to keep coming in, right? No. Because when you guys go, hey, not only did we fulfill our contract, we exceeded it. So we get some more money on top of that 400,000, and they go, no, well, where'd you guys record those hit songs? You recorded those here. Our studio rental is $15,000 an hour. So actually you guys owe us. So unless you get those cute little butts back out on tour, you're not going to see another dime. And that's why all of these artists are so effing pissed off at all of these disgusting moguls it's everybody. And that's why I bring up the Wham documentary, because when I almost called him Shawn Michaels, the wrestler, when the George Michael and his partner, he was like, we're 2 broke kids from a working class, working poor neighborhood in London. This guy, we met this guy. He sent a limo to come get us. We signed a contract at a coffee shop. We had never had any money, and all of a sudden we're famous. And Wham was an internationally famous group. And there was a really interesting interview. They had done this show called Top of the Pops, which was basically maybe like the TRL of England back in the 80s. Like that was the show where, like, if you were the biggest actor in the country, you'd be on that. And one of the interviewers goes, wow, what does it feel like to have all this fame and fortune? And George Michael goes, well, and he's 19 at this. He goes, I can tell you about the fame, but I still live at my mom's house. I watched a documentary on Kid and Play, and they said when they got done with their countrywide tour on this dope tour bus, he was like, the tour bus dropped us right back off in the hood. All of these young people have been taken advantage of by these record labels, and it's I think that's why we're seeing a lot of the anger there. So I'm hoping with streaming that some of these younger folks will have a better I guess control of their economic future, because I think we've lost a lot of entertainers that they just we think they just went away, but they went away because they didn't have any money or they were so frustrated by the entire process. All right, let's move on to a monster who I think we all dislike, but we're glad that bad things are happening to him, and that would be Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, otherwise formerly the artist formerly known as Prince, the worst Prince. Yes, formerly known as Prince Andrew. Not only did he have to move out the crib into what is being described by Daily Mail as a shoebox-sized property on King Charles's Norfolk estate. Yes, he has also had the Mountbatten-Windsor title removed from there. So he has lost all of his titles, all of his military titles, and his place to live. So I want to ask you guys this. Is this enough? Are we done with Prince Andrew? And don't hold back, because if you're like, nah, I'm like, nah. Look, he is the most, for as much as we say, yeah, big deal, you had to move out of a castle and lose your title. But quite frankly, Merca, they've done more over there in England than we have. What have we done? Who's in jail? Huh? I'll wait. I always say, remember this. Think about an alien landing, and you're explaining this whole situation to him. You're like, there was this crazy, horrible sex trafficker named Jeffrey Epstein, and he had this entire network where he would find these young women that were destitute, and he would bribe them with money, and then he would coerce them to do horrible acts. And a lot of these young women were a lot worse. All of these young women were worse for wear because of what they experienced. And that alien would be like, oh my God, that is terrible. What have you done? How many hundreds of men are in jail? And you would say, no, alien, no men are in jail. One woman. She's like 58. Come on, dog. And not only was she in jail, we moved her to a nicer jail where she gets to have a dog. I don't even have a dog. She has a dog in jail, and she's in a jail that she is legally not allowed to be in because she has an SA offense. And the minimum security that jail that she is in does not house SA offenders, because they need to be in a place where SA offenders need to be. And that's the scary jail. I want her in a Shawshank jail, but no Morgan Freeman there to make the time go by faster. I just want her and a bunch of ladies that don't really like it when you go after the kids. So yeah, I don't know, as we prepare for another release of these Epstein files. From what I've heard, I have Googled the photos from the House Oversight Committee. Obviously, there are a lot of redactions, but you do see a lot. A lot of people got the heads up, and like Tory said the other day, people like what's his name? Who's the little ratty guy? Woody Allen. He got out of the country. I feel like they're giving a lot of these rats time to flee the ship, because when this goes down, I would be very shocked if a lot of these people are not found in Thailand or any other country that does not have extradition. I can't believe it's taken this long. And the photos we got aren't even from them, really. These are photos that the Epstein estate released. So there, in a weird way, Congress and everybody is taking credit for like, here are the photos, but they didn't even release them. This is from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, so I don't know who's controlling that that Gmail account, but they're uploading some photos. And when there's 95,000, what they were saying is that there's also a lot of video, and there is video of people engaging in a lot of different acts. So if you think about what we saw last Friday with the release of the photos, is there any doubt, colleagues, that at some point near Christmas, that this is when all this is going to be released? That I swear, if this is going to be released maybe even Christmas morning. That'll be the worst present for all of us to unpack. But I really feel like this is what they're doing. Like, why are they dragging their feet? Do you remember when, and he was a monster as well, but like when Sean Combs, P. Diddy, was originally indicted? Do you remember how quick they were? Just like there was two guys talking. There was people in uniform behind them. We sent the GD military. They had like sea to land tanks rolling up to Puffy's. Remember they put his kids up against the wall with the guns against their head. They had AR-15s. Where's that at now? Because the only thing on that press, we saw the press conferences, they were talking about baby oil and freak offs and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because SAR showed me what Tory sent her yesterday. And of course, everybody thinks Al's crazy. He's a comedian. What does he know? I know people. But what have I been saying for a long time? I've been like, how come we know freak offs? Everybody in this room, whether we want to or not, we know about that baby oil. Does anybody know remember the name of the guy that tried to kill Trump? I'll wait. I'll look in the comments. Do we know anything about him? I'll look in the comments. Anything about his family background and his siblings? Did he have a violent past? Where was he living? What was his living situation? Was he a gun nut? Does he have a tranche of all these different kinds of layouts? Had he been moving and looking for Trump all over the country? Was this a random act? What do we know about the guy that supposedly shot our president's ear off? Not a thing. Not a thing. Nobody knows anything that they don't want us to know. We just move on. And I would guess to say, and it's so interesting because, colleagues, y'all are more newsy than I am. My future mother-in-law, SAR's mom, is very newsy, CNN all day. And I doubt that any of y'all could tell me too much about the Charlie Kirk assassin. What's his name again? The only thing we got was that fake ass FBI letter that Kash Patel tried to put out. Remember that fake ass love letter that Kash Patel, when they were trying to pin it on the trans community? So they had this fake letter, and it was like, my dearest transgender love, I am going to do, and everybody was like, even the hardcore red pill MAGA Republicans, we were like, would you get the F out of here? I remember people were breaking down that air quote love letter that the FBI found. And he was like, I have placed the gun behind the vehicle. And somebody was like, Gen Alpha, or maybe that would be Gen Z, they don't use the word vehicle. Like, that's a 53-year-old man's over there by my daughter went to college on a full ride. I don't even know if she knows what the word vehicle means. That's how like outdated of a word that is, and how young people that age would not use that. When you're an old man trying to write like a young person, you use language like that. And then all of a sudden that letter went just bye-bye. Where'd that go? That's what I thought. This is some weird stuff. I told y'all about Erika Kirk We've been looking at those weird ass clips of her on with Bari Weiss with those weird eyes that she has. I'm gonna try to just let me see if I can cut the file in half because it was such a weird thing. Now, luckily, I'm gonna make it just let me make it just 15 seconds. All right, delete that. And I'm gonna delete that. Okay, let's just see. I think what they miscalculated with a lot of what they've tried to kind of snow the public over with is that we are a much more savvy audience in terms of understanding what propaganda is and why it would be in front of our face. The Erika Kirk story, when I first started going down this rabbit hole a long time ago, I was like, why are you kind of worried, like interested in this? It's because it just, that phrase, that dog don't hunt, which I do have a stinger for. So I will hit y'all with that as soon as I attach the music to it. But yeah, it's let me put it. I just sent it to the wrong computer. Just hearing Erika Kirk's backstory about how, both her parents were in defense contracting, and then all of a sudden, she wins a beauty contest through the Trump administration. She goes over to Romania, which all 23-year-olds do, sets up some kind of like adoption service for Romanian kids. That adoption service is quickly accused of setting those kids up to be taken advantage of. And I think you guys can do the math on what I'm talking about there. And then all of a sudden, her husband is killed, and now she's in control. This woman think about her background. Erika Kirk's on her resume, she has a beauty pageant, a charity that was shut down due to accusations of child trafficking, and then being a mom. Those are the 3 bullet points that she has, no pun intended, on her resume. And all of a sudden, she's in charge of TPUSA, this multi-million-dollar propaganda arm of the right, after her husband started kind of changing his message on his stance as it pertains to certain U.S. allies. You can look into that. I'm not even going to mention that. Okay, let me see if I can get this going. Wait, did I just cut a clip while I was talking to y'all on a solo show? I think I did. Hold on, let's check it before I toot my own horn. Hold on. Let me make myself smaller. Okay.
After Charlie's assassination, found that 90% of undergraduates believe to some extent that words can be violence. Another FIRE survey that we took earlier also found that 1/3 of surveyed students believe that using violence to...
Okay,
After Charlie's assassination, found that 90%...
I saw somebody in the chat talking about Susan Wiles. What they just didn't calculate, y'all. That's you think I did that? That's the picture. Think about how you would be looking if you were about to have a Vanity Fair expose. Would it be that? Would it be that? We've been told that it's not nice to say the phrase crazy eyes anymore. But do you know why the word crazy eyes has existed for my long adult life, which I'm creeping up on half a century? Is because crazy eyes are a real thing. Crazy eyes are a real thing. And there's also these kind of eyes. Your eyes are the window to your soul. Now, there are also these kind of eyes. Okay. Now, come on. Who doesn't love that kid? I don't know why this is in here, but who would you believe? This kid, braces ready to go. First of all, the outfit I had on, we were at Sears. So, yeah, colleagues, let me just let you know that your boy's been balling. All right. We used to go right up to, matter of fact, we weren't at Sears. We were at a place, if you're from the Midwest, you remember there were chains, like Macy's is still around, but there were chains before Macy's. There used to be a chain called Higbee's. I used to go to Higbee's was like Macy's, I guess. I used to go with Marcella, my grandmother, God rest her soul. And that was back when you would go get those pictures taken. And I was rocking tortoiseshell glasses, knowing that they would come back 30 years later. And the outfit I had on, that was a designer, and their line of clothing was called Major Damage. So okay, so let me ask you this: do you trust her or do you trust him? Do you trust him or do you trust him? Look at that kid. Come on. Is he going to take your health care away? Can I just do the rest of the show like this without losing everybody, which I absolutely should. If you left right now, I would not blame you. But yeah, I just feel like there is a certain type of person that is drawn to this administration, and there's a certain type of person. I heard this guy on YouTube, and he said something that was really interesting. He was just kind of a guy in his backyard, but I do think everybody has a different perspective on what we're all living through and what we're experiencing right now. And what he was saying was, if Trump was a misogynist, he wouldn't have got elected. If he was a liar, he wouldn't have got elected. If he wasn't a cheater, he wouldn't have got elected. If he wasn't a racist, he wouldn't have got elected. It was that he was everything. That all the people that have some kind of personality disorder found something in Trump that they could identify with. And I think when I was on DBL, that's what really made me, on a day-to-day basis, I was just so taken back, because I'm sure I was like a lot of you guys, like, oh, well, the Access Hollywood tape, the grab women by the, you know what, we're done, right? And everybody's like, yeah, well, he should be. But I kind of agree with him. And I was like, what? And then just like everything that was starting to roll out, what you realize when he insulted Megyn Kelly, or there have been so many huge scandals, many scandals, that it's hard to even, but every single one of them should have ended his career. His attack and his doubling down on Rob Reiner, which I do want to get to before we go, because you could tell his people were in a panic, and they were just like, hey, Trump, everybody hates you, and you need to kind of go out and fix the Rob Reiner situation, because it was the first time. And then Sarah and I were listening to the wrap-up show on the Megyn Kelly show. So these are just hard right, red pill Republicans calling in, discussing their disgust at this president. They didn't have that same smoke when he was killing people in the Caribbean. They didn't have that same smoke when it was zip tying children in Chicago, or all the horrible things. But it seems like the Rob Reiner and his wife being murdered, and the dancing on their grave, that really took Trump's hardest supporters back. I saw James Woods, who is a famous actor and very MAGA. He was saying how disappointed he was in his remarks. And I wonder if it's the first time that even his hardest supporters could not defend him, because I think a lot of MAGA folks, and that's one thing that I think MAGA has kind of softened their tone with. They talk about people that are addicted to drugs, but what they forget is a lot of their voters are rural, and drugs hit those communities just as hard as they did the cities, if not harder. So when they're like, yeah, with their drug addicted children, a lot of your voters, matter of fact, the majority of human beings have had our lives impacted by drugs in some way, by somebody that we love or ourselves. And I think that sometimes MAGA doesn't realize who its base is. And I think Trump really missed the mark with his Rob Reiner comments. But I will continue, and I'll tell you what Donald Trump, the article says. Donald Trump doubles down on Rob Reiner attack one day after his murder. And his quote to start this article was, I wasn't a fan of his at all, which is all right. The president has criticized Rob twice since the Hollywood director and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were killed Sunday, December 14th. The president doubled down on his criticism of Rob Reiner and his wife. And basically, when he was speaking with reporters on his first go round, he basically said, that Rob died due to the anger he caused through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind crippling disease known as Trump Derangement Syndrome. I feel gross even reading this. He went on to basically say, I wasn't a fan of his at all. This is the second go round. Like, his people's organized a chance for him to kind of clean up on aisle 4. And he basically said, I wasn't a fan of his at all. Trump told a reporter he was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned, talking about himself in third person. And he says that Reiner says that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax, and I was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself career-wise. I think his career is fine. Some could argue that he had the greatest career a director has ever had. That's in the realm of arguments, but maybe some people think that career wasn't good enough. Sounds like our president does not. So he continues to say, I was not a fan of Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Now, I'll say this in closing, and I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on this, y'all. Some people are saying that they've said that Trump is obviously he's kind of, they say symptoms of dementia. Take your filter away. It's famously what everybody's favorite Golden Girl, Estelle Getty, what was her name on the show? Say it. This is why I need Tory, because it's Blanche, Dorothy. What was her name? Anyway, she she famously called Blanche all kinds of names, but she was older because she got away with it, because when you get older, you lose your filter a little bit and you can't even handle situations that need a little bit of a delicate touch, even if you didn't care for the person. I'm sure a lot of heads of state have had to lay to rest people that they were not fans of, but you understand the political moment that you're in and you make sure to put a nice bow on it, even if you say some really nasty things right after they take the mic off of you. And I think Trump 1.0, his initial soiree into the presidency, the first 4 years, I think that Trump was savvy enough to know that, or maybe even savvy enough to not say anything. I think famously, if I remember, Trump didn't have too much to say about George Floyd. I don't think he said too much about it, which everybody was saying they were kind of, oh yeah, I see him. I'll get him. Okay. He's running from me. Okay. Did that do it? Okay. No, Dorothy was B. Arthur. What was Dorothy's mom's name? Did somebody say it yet? Sophia. Thank you, Kayabu. No. Who said that? Who said Sophia? I missed it. Oh, Sarah said Sophia. Thank you, baby girl. And yes, I think that when we watched Sophia and she would call Blanche and SLUT, it was just kind of like, she'd be like, I'm old and I don't care. And everybody kind of had an old person that's like that. They would just say sometimes an older person, just because they don't have as much of a filter and they don't care about being PC because they're 89, they'd be like, this food sucks and it's hot in here. And everybody's like, oh my God, grandma. I think there's maybe something that we're seeing with Trump where Trump 2.0 doesn't realize or care to try and stifle his comments, even when it's wildly unpopular with that unmovable MAGA base, which is like 31% of the country. And I wonder where we're going to be in another 3 years, because this version of Trump is really scary. And I wish I could say that I was quite sure that we are headed for greener pastures, but what do they say? It gets worse before it gets better. And with people like Stephen Miller in charge, our reputation in shambles. We're clearly trying to start some you know what with Venezuela. We've already taken one of their oil tankers. How would that be covered in this country if one sovereign nation commandeered another sovereign nation's oil tanker? And why? We're not at war with them. For what reason? For what reason have we killed 80 people in the Caribbean? It's because we are forever ending our title as the protector of the world, the world's global leader. You can tell by the way Europe is kind of reorganizing and strengthening themselves because they don't rely on the United States anymore. They can't rely on intelligence passing through us anymore. And I think that we're in a reshaping of this country. And quite frankly, I don't know what we're going to look like in 3 years, but I do know what we're going to look like. Do you guys hear that wind outside? There is finna be a crazy windstorm tonight. They've already said that they started to turn the electricity off in parts of northern Colorado, and it is. I have the window closed and I can hear it. So if you guys are anywhere that is in the direction of this windstorm, get somewhere and get safe. Yeah, it's getting super gangsta over here. But don't forget that I know where y'all are going to be in 3 years. You're going to be right here with me, with us. So on behalf of Michael Dean, who is back today, I'll text him, make sure that he's returned safely. Tory, who's doing her thing to make sure that she is at the top of her game. Sarah, who saw me struggling, and she just she said, "You can do it, baby." And that really inspired me. So thank you, Sarah. I love you for that. That little comment when you saw me getting frustrated really helped. So wait, I thought I did ban File. Where is File not banned? Are they saying mean things? File, don't be saying it. Come on, man. You're too old. If there is somebody that's a troll on here, let me just say to any troll, think about like when you were born and the doctor placed you on your mother's chest and all the dreams that she had for you. Oh, this baby could be president. This one could be a doctor. Nobody ever says, I hope my baby becomes a troll. So on behalf of friends from work and your mama, knock it off and just become a colleague. Join us. We're way more fun than trolling. Trolling's boring and it's easy. So you know what? It's hard to say goodbye, but I will do it. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Tory will be in the building. I'm going to give Michael Dean the week. He'll be back on Monday. So I will see you guys tomorrow, Thursday. Let's do it. Love y'all. Bye.